What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am your host, Edwin. And where do all fights start?
Round one.
That's right, we have an amazing show. So lock in, tune in. Let's get this show started. What's up, fight fans, man? Listen, in the building. Let's go. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I call these fights Notre Dame's world champion in the building. You guys seen that shit last night. I called it Jerron Boots Ennis, 6-round knockout. Mess with your boy, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it is what it is. So the Notre Dame's world championship is here in the building. Listen, guys, let's talk about this Jerron Boots Ennis fight. Let's break down. But before we get all into that, do me a favor and smash that like button. If you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. One of the best boxing channels today we have on these YouTube boxing streets. Let's get into this. Well, round one. Jerron Boots Ennis, what can I say? He looked great. He looked great against Emmanuel Stanionis. I saw multiple versions of this fight. A lot of information that I was getting from Jerron Boots Ennis' camp. What he looked like in his last two outings. And there was a lot to download. There was a lot to bring to the table. And I had to really ask myself, what version of Jerron Boots Ennis are we getting? So we get into the fight and we start like the weigh in and everything. And right away, a lot of people started putting out the notion that Jerron Boots Ennis looked a bit weight drained. And that Stanionis was looking, good. All right. So, I think that a lot of people were reading into this a lot. And Jerron Boots Ennis obviously had a plan. And he knew that he was going to shine on this night. One of my observations coming into this fight was whether or not Emmanuel Stanionis could catch up to Jerron Boots Ennis, meaning in speed. Could he hit him? Although he did land a few, good shots whenever Jerron Boots Ennis wanted to go into that relaxed Philly shell style where his lead hand, he would drop it. And at that point, when a fighter does that, he's basically relying on speed, the ability to evade his punches. That's what he's basically doing. And he's gonna try to either loop, send the hand that he has just at wayside like this, his lead hand, and he's gonna try to work with that hand. It's basically what he's doing. I don't like that. I think that a lot of these guys are taking this Philly shell like way of style of fighting just because you're from Philly. It's kind of like, I'm not sure if he was raised, pretty much so, into believing that that's the way to fight. I think he should be a little bit more defensively sound and not teach himself bad habits as he's in the fight. I can't say a lot about his performance as it being like a problem because he basically pitched a shutout. I gave Emmanuel Stanionis one round. 1 round is all I gave him. And truth be told, it could be a make a strong argument that Jaron Boots Ennis won that round. In fact, he basically won every single round until he stopped them. Now the stoppage was great, right? Because the way Jaron Boots Ennis broke him down with those uppercuts, they were either going to the body or right to his face. And you can see it. And Stanionis was wearing it. He was all busted up, right? And then Jaron Boots Ennis started to evade and do that, like, trying to like roll punches and shit like that. And I think that although he can get away with it with guys at this level, man, Stanionis is good. The thing that he's good at, he's accurate. Problem is, he's not really all that fast. He's got good power, yes, but Jaron Boots Ennis coming into the fight, I felt he had the slight edge in power. Being that they share a common opponent, and Manny Stanionis went with their opponent the distance, and Jaron Boots Ennis stopped them within 1 round. And that's to attest to his punching power. So I'm not going to use the triangle theory here where one guy beats one guy type shit. I'm just describing how fast he dispersed them versus how fast, he went the distance with him. So, yeah, I'm not sure, like, how you're going to, like, but I'm just measuring the power. That's it, of Jaron Boots Ennis. What's up, Leo? Stanionis was shorter, with shorter arms, balled up in a shield, easy for Boots. Well, not easy, right? Because according to Emmanuel Stanionis' rest of his competition, 99% couldn't deal with him. Because up until the point that Boots Ennis just beat him, he was undefeated. So that theory of being short arms, he's been in the ring with guys. As a matter of fact, I was speaking about this, that Amanda Stanionis, with only a 15-9 record going into that boot fight, he had fought better opposition and quality of opponents than Jaron Boots Ennis, hands down. You might not know, or they're not household names, the guys that Stanionis fought, but I'm trying to tell you right now, them dudes is dogs. And he got way better fighters under his belt than Jaron Boots Ennis does. Fact, Jack. So when I saw that, I said, this can be a case of two things. Either Jaron Boots Ennis has been floating under the radar and really outshining his opponent and hasn't really been tested, or Manuel Stanionis is a much better fighter, and on this night he's going to prove it. So what ended up happening was Jaron Boots Ennis, he really showed his skills. He really showed that he's at the top of the food chain. And the rest of the champions in the division, listen, Brian Norman Jr., I think is a bigger puncher than Stanionis. I think he's a bigger puncher. And I think he's a bit more athletic, to tell you the truth. As far as speed, Stanionis has boxing speed. He knows when to throw it in position. The problem is that Jaron Boots Ennis kept moving backwards, using his footwork, and was evading to the right or the left. So Jaron Boots Ennis wasn't really staying stationary for the most part. The times that he did stay stationary in the fight, Stanionis did connect. And those were the times that Stanionis landed some of his biggest punches in that fight. So Jaron Boots Ennis utilized his legs, his mobility, and he started cutting angles, and he started hitting Emmanuel Stanionis. But the biggest weapon was that uppercut. That uppercut was, Emmanuel Stanionis was like this whole inside was open and Jerron was exposing it. Um, I went back and I saw Jerron Boots and it says, "What's up, Carlos? How you doing? Salute, brother, in the building. Thank you for joining." And I went back and I looked at Jerron Boots Ennis's like post fight, and I took a lot away from what he said at that, but also, man, I was like a little bothered by it, to tell you the truth. Stay with me on this one. Congratulations to Jerron Boots Ennis, and I don't mean to rain on his parade by any means or stretch of the imagination. I just sometimes I get a little bit discouraged when I see my American champion just winning or achieving championship status in this sport that I love called boxing. And the first words out of their mouth are, "I'm gonna go party. I'm gonna go enjoy my win." It's not like these guys from the other side of the world. They're talking about whoever they get me in the ring with next. I can't wait to get back in the ring to show the world. They're out there like there's no Disney World for them. And Jerron Boots Ennis, the one thing I couldn't help but notice, before he answered the question, he expressed how he was going to party, enjoy his vacation, go on a vacation. It was like I'm watching him and I'm just saying to myself, you're not saying I want to get back in the ring as quick as possible. You're not saying you want to unify. Everybody that did the big talking was Ed Hearn. Ed Hearn was the one that said he wants unifications. That Brian Norman Jr.'s last fight, he made 150,000. My bag, Brian Norman Jr. I overpaid you. I said 300,000. I guessed 300,000. Shit, I would have paid Brian Norman Jr. 150,000 over. 150,000. You're a world champion on an undercard. You're gonna say no to Jerron Boots Ennis for what Ed Hearns reported, 2 million? Now I'm not going by everything Ed Hearns says, but I can guarantee you one thing, Brian Norman Jr. I think that's a fact, Jack. The biggest payday you will stand to make is Jerron Boots Ennis at this point. Ed Hearn hinted to the fact if they go back to the Wago Center there, right? What's up, Carlos? How you doing in the building, right? The Fargo Center, right? Uh, he he'll sell it out next time. Being that he didn't do it this time, and the venue they did in Atlanta, New Jersey, held 9,000 seats. And even Ed Hearn slipped up and said, "This guy's over here fighting under an undercard for 12,000 seat venue, while Jerron Boots Ennis is over here fighting for 9,000." He was like that. But he could have cleared it all up and said he wasn't even headlining. So those 12,000, they weren't there to see you. You weren't the main event. That's what he meant to say. You see? So, as far as Jerron Boots Ennis and this fight, I think he answered a lot of questions. Jerron Boots Ennis, whether or not, a lot of people really felt like a Stanionis was a real threat. We did. I even did. We felt he was a threat, but we all said that Jerron Boots Ennis was going to win. In fact, on my show, I have receipts where I won the Notre Dame's World Championship by predicting the exact round and the knockout and who is going to win. I picked Jerron Boots Ennis in the sixth to knock out Stanionis, and exactly that happened. So, we I most of the fight fans really thought he can get it done. I was hoping on a knockout so that he can, really make a statement to stake his claim as one of the best pound for pound fighters that we have in the world. And by doing that, you're going to have to go out and bring us blood. You can't just, and they do it all the time. They do it all the time. Listen, but boxing will pull your card, right? Because if everybody could talk their way up on a pound for pound list, Ryan Garcia would be on the top. Right underneath would be Rolly. Yeah. So you can't necessarily talk your way all the way in boxing. You might have a big social media following, but that's only going to take you so far. Unless you got that it factor, I guess, like a Jake Paul-ish, right? But for all the rest of us, you're not going to talk your way up there. But a performance like this will really start to raise eyebrows. And if he can have a better run at the 147, right, before moving up, because let's just face it, guys, we're competing here. We are competing. At the end of the day, Jerron Boots Ennis is worried about his own career, right? And if we're competing, who are you being judged by? Where's the measuring stick? I'll tell you, Terrence Crawford. There's your freaking measuring stick. And if you're thinking about being called a better fighter in the era that Terrence Crawford exists, well, then Jerron Boots Ennis, you got some work to do, Papa. And it just, look, he needs to put a better run together at 147 than, say, Terrence did at 140. Jeff Horn. All right. You see, Terrence Crawford's run at 140, it's not the most spectacular run, but he did it. He still did it, right? And before you judge his run, Jerron Boots Ennis fans, right? Do some shit first. You're going to have to do something. You got 2 belts. Okay. 2.5. I'll give you the ring, right? Still not an official belt, the ring. Do they say a 2-belt era, a 4-belt era, or a 5-belt era? What do they say? A 4-belt era. Okay, so if we're in a 4-belt era, where's the ringside come into play? Huh? They don't in the 5-belt. They don't say that shit. All right. So, but you got 3. You got the IBF, the WBA, and the Ringside Magazine. Now, I'm not gonna say that that's gonna make any of the other champions fight him. Not gonna say that that's gonna make Brian Norman Jr. fight him. But I'm going to tell you one thing right now. If what Ed Hearn speaks is the truth, meaning Jerron Boots Ennis said it, Ed Hearn said it, that he gave money out of his own purse to give more money to Stanionis, and that on the next fight, he's looking to get paid what he's worth. Right? So if he's looking to get paid what he's worth, trying to get some of these other champions in the ring with you might be another hit. Sometimes champions have had to do such things to get where they want, such as Devin Haney. Even rematching George Kamboza with him being the champion. He didn't get paid like he should have. So, sometimes in the pursuit of greatness, you will leave money on the table. But like every great champion realizes, all that money will come on the back end. Once you get all the gold around your waist, they're going to have to come see you. You hold all the cards. You are the A side. And you get to call the shots. There's not many fighters in the world that get to call their own shots. Very few. I could probably count them on my hand. How many fighters can actually call their shot? A lot of fighters in recent weeks have been under scrutiny, such as David the Monster Benavidez, for accepting the WBC world title at 175 pounds. A lot of people voiced their opinion and called him an email champion. You got mail. Check your mail. Ching, ching. Champion. You fought no one, right? There's a flip side to this quarter. If you was a fighter coming up in the ranks and they advise you through an email that they elevated you to now their world champion, would you say no? There has been some men, including Tank Davis, that did say no to the WBA. Not because he didn't want to take the belt at the time, which we all know, is because he knew he would come under heavy scrutiny for the statement he made against Devin Haney for being an email champion. Lo and behold, just a short few years later, he's in the same situation. Tank Davis, publicly or behind the scenes, could not take that belt. But I want you to know, if you didn't know this, that the WBA, when he came out and said no, they contacted him and they said, did you really say no? I want you to know that before he entered the ring on that night with Frank the Ghost Martin, Gervonta Davis secretly said yes to the email championship of the world. He went into the fight against Frank the Ghost Martin, the what? The WBA 135-pound champion of the world on that night. Did it not go down as a title defense on that belt? Not the regular, not that little interim, whatever you want to call it. Same shit. Regular, interim means the same shit. It's not a real belt. He got credit for that real belt for that knockout. Although he didn't fight any champion, you see, in Jaron Boots Ennis' case, the thing is, he's stamped now, solidified among champions. Why? He didn't win that IBF championship. Terrence Crawford got stripped for it, and they elevated Jaron Boots Ennis, right? Okay. But he beat Emmanuel Stanionis for the WBA. That's a world champion. That's a done deal. He's official. He just went from the Jordan Miguelitos to the Jordan Retros. That's what Jaron Boots Ennis just did. Yeah, because up until this point, he was rocking the what I like to call the Miguelitos, right? And those weren't J's, baby. Michael never wore those in a game. And he was rocking them. So yeah, that belt was and I mean, it's just the truth. But now he's certified. He's stamped. You can't take that away from him. Nope. And the way he did it. And many people's eye, he pitched a shutout. There was a lot of people that didn't give a Stanionis not one round. I was kind. I gave him one. That's a shutout, baby. And then he no masked Stanionis. No mas. Stanionis said, no mas, bro. Yeah, so he beat him. So whether or not you're on the line that Jerron Boots Ennis is what we call in today's age a hype job, or just because he beat him, he's not him, this, that. I would like you to ask yourself, in comparison to who? Because Terrence Crawford is not in his weight division, so we can't judge him to him. So he's out. He can only be judged by his weight division. That's it. And if you would ask me, you put Jerron Boots Ennis in the ring with the rest of the champions, Mario Barrio, Brian Norman Jr., I got Jerron Boots Ennis. I think he beats both those guys. And the one to give him the toughest fight is going to be Brian Norman Jr. because he's got a little bit more pop than Stanionis does. And if Stanionis did catch up to Jerron Boots Ennis in the fight, he had his moments. Now, you take those moments and those shots, you give those shots to Brian Norman Jr., that might change the fight. It could. I want to see how Jerron Boots Ennis takes those punches. That's something, I got to see that. So, and then I got to see if Brian Norman Jr. can take Jerron Boots Ennis' punches. Because out of all of them, I think Boots Ennis hits the hardest. So, although Brian Norman is going to be throwing punches at Boots, yeah, Boots is going to be throwing punches back at him. And can he deal with Boots' power and skill? Because both men are athletically gifted. Both men can move when they need to. Brian Norman Jr., a bit more, straight up stationary type. Jerron can use his legs. Jerron likes to play with his food a bit too much for my liking. That's his own style. Fine, Jerron Boots Ennis. It works for you. For me, I'm a little bit old fashioned. I bet your father, he cringes, right? Or he might like that shit. If your father been around you all your life, he might be encouraging it. For all I know, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm going to keep it me. It's, I'm a bit, just be a bit more cautious, be a little bit more alert, and stays fundamentally sound. Stay the course on what we worked on, what was our game plan, what you need to be doing for a minute and 30 seconds, and then for the next minute and 30 seconds, how you need to be closing the round. And I need you to be focused on the fact that before you turn around and that bell rings, you feel like you are winning those rounds. And if he takes a break off, make sure, these are some subtle things. Now, although I would like the fighter to fight the way I would think, the truth of the matter is you can only train him on so many combinations, sequence drills, and everything. It's up to the fighter on fight night to put it all together. He's the one out there standing in front of the guy and he's making these reads. So sometimes as a coach, sometimes you don't hear a lot of conversation in the corner, and it doesn't mean that the coach is a bad coach. The issue in that situation is they did all the talking they needed to, preparing for the fight. There's nothing to talk about. You know what we worked on. You know what we discussed. That microphone ain't going to reveal anything for anybody that's listening. There's no need for me to be yelling out instructions. When you see that in a corner, sometimes it indicates panic, or they're looking to change things. Their night is not going their way. Typically, sometimes you'll see like even Calvin Ford in the corner Like, nah, I'm good. You good? You good? Yeah, I'm good. Drinking water here. You want a sip? Yeah. Your mom said something. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Yup. Photo op. Yup. There's nothing to talk about. Tank knows the game plan. He knows what we're here to do. Get the go do it. That's it. So sometimes when you see these moments, and I've been in boxing parties or something, and somebody yells out, the coach ain't saying nothing to him. He's a horrible coach. And I'm like, nah, no, there's at that point with you and your student, there is nothing to talk about. You need to be initiating plan A. Plan A is everything we worked on and to go win this fight. Plan B is to enforce plan A. That's it. Plan B, enforce plan A. What are we talking about? There's nothing to talk about. Get up, do what you're trained to do, son. It's what it is. So, Jerron Boots Ennis definitely, in my opinion, has solidified himself as the best 147-pound fighter we have in the world. And how did he do that? Well, I'll tell you how. When you have more than the other guys in your weight division, you have more. He has 2 belts. The rest of you guys got one apiece. How are you better than me? How? Matter of fact, he got the 3, the ring 2. How are you considered? It would be by opinion. That's why I say my biggest argument with Jerron Boots Ennis, or one of them in anyway, right, would be that how can you say you're the best 135-pound fighter in the world if you guys all are equal? Each one of you got a belt. None of you has more. At that point, you would just be arguing opinions or opponents on what you feel deem him the better one out of the other ones. Their names of the guys they fought. Strong argument, I would agree. But still, at the end of the day, I have the same thing you have. How are you better than me? How? Now, Jerron Boots Ennis, by winning 2, that's a done deal. If I got 2 belts, you got, who's better? It's not going to take a rocket scientist to figure that out, right? That was slick as fuck. I thought of that anyway. If you didn't catch that, you know what I'm saying? And look, you got to have more. You have to have more in order to be considered. Hey, it is what it is. So, look, at this point, guys, I'll give Jerron Boots Ennis that stamp of approval, where that it's do me a favor, guys, man. Really smash that like button for me, guys. Can you guys just do that for me? Take your time and hit that like button. And I think that moving forward, what's more likely to happen for Jerron Boots Ennis? Moving forward, right? Now, as we all know, right? There's a small, I would say it's a small little roadblock, so to speak. Like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but you guys do know that Emmanuel Stanionis, coming into the Jerron Boots Ennis fight for the WBA, paid step aside money to what's his name there? Shrakaham. Shrakaham. I messed up his name. I forget how to say his name. Is GLY something. But you know who I'm talking about? Chakram. They paid him step aside money to fight Jaron Boots Ennis. That's a fact, Jack. So if they had to pay him step aside money, that means he was next in line to Emmanuel Stanionis' belt. That means that falls on Jaron Boots Ennis. Technically, it does. He's not going to lose his place in line for that WBA. So, although a lot of people are saying, yo, he's going to try to fight Brian Norman Jr., one of the champions, or X, Y, and Z, Mario Barrio, I'm thinking, you guys got to pay attention to the guy they paid to step aside. He's in the shadows. If you had to pay him to step aside, that means that man had a real claim. That means that I think that although I would like Jaron Boots Ennis and this talk of Ed Hearn, really like trying to sell these unification fights and egg on Brian Norman Jr., what are you guys going to pay this guy some more step aside money? Is he going to take it? And then does he not stay active? Now imagine taking step aside money is to stay active. You take a fight and lose. You lose your position. It's a funny, tricky situation for Jaron Boots Ennis, if you ask me. Because I know what they're talking about. I know, like, they want Brian Norman Jr., Jaron Boots Ennis. I think that's the next right big fight right there. And they'll sell out the World Fargo Center and shit like that. And I think that's it. I'm not sure. There's a part of me that says he'll make more money fighting Brian Norman Jr. And then there's a part of me that says he'll make more money fighting Mario Barrio due to that, Mexican fan base. It brings in a whole new element and fan to the fight. There's really no telling kind of like what that would bring. And if the fans start really backing Jaron Boots Ennis, like, the big fans that'll travel, and he becomes that kind of fighter, well, then that'll be interesting, depending on what time of the year you set that fight in. That could be a lucrative fight. It's not like I'm talking, astronomical numbers here, but I'm just saying, as a unification for Jaron Boots Ennis, which fight would make more sense, and dollars and cents, which one? And at first I'm sitting here and I'm saying the Brian Norman Jr. has to be the best fight. And then I'm like, wait a minute, the Aztec Warrior, he's loved. And I'm not sure what the Aztec Warrior's numbers are, right? But I'm pretty sure he has a pretty good following, and I listen, it is apparent. Mario Barrio is trying to sell his belt to the highest bidder. He's not really chasing legacy. He's chasing the bag. You could see that from a mile away. What fighter would try to welcome the Manny Pacquiao fight not once, not twice, but 3 times? Talk about that's not a money grab fight. Mario Barrios talking about fighting all kinds of like money fights. Shit, he'll fight Jake Paul tomorrow. He's not hiding the fact that he's selling his belt to the highest bidder, win, lose, or draw. You're still gonna have to beat him, but he's trying to cash out on the biggest bag. Well, this is called prize fighting, right? So, who am I to tell Mario Barrio what the fuck he's worth? Mario Barrio wants to get his belt off to the highest bidder, then that's on Mario Barrio. Get yours. I'm not knocking him for it, but it's just going to be another situation where I feel that Jerron Boots Ennis is publicly, he said it like 5 times, and the fight wasn't even over. I just want the world to know I gave Stanionis money out of my purse, so I took a pay cut. Hey, look at me. Did I say that I took a pay cut? So he's obviously saying on his next fight, he wants to get paid. So sometimes you wanting to get paid and get these other champions in the ring with you, that's my whole point. Jerron Bruce Ennis is going to really have to ask himself, am I really in this for legacy or money? There's time for both. The when and the where. If I can get Brian Norman in the ring with me now, the paydays will come. By that time, I'll be a unified 3-belt champion, including the ringside. So there'll be time for the money. But sometimes these legacy fights, they don't come around every fight. And that guy might not be the champion. And then there might be a guy that knocks him out and takes the belt to Russia. I'm not fighting outside of Russia. If you want to fight me, you got to come to Russia. Type shit. All Russian judges and shit. You're like forced to knock him out. You know what I mean? And when do these opportunities come? So that's what I mean. Jerron Buzenis might have to take another pay cut back to back to get where he wants to be among the legends of boxing. Yeah, Jerron Buzenis, you had a lot to say after your fight. One of them were, you're the best. No boxer today can mess with you. Well said, coming off of a victory. But that's easier said than done. A lot of men have claimed to do remarkable things. It's another thing to do it. Talk is cheap. You know how where we from around here in Round One Sports Talk. We from the show me state. You gonna have to show me. So although he claims to be the best fighter, I didn't wake up this morning and see you on a pound for pound list, did I? No. Because you did get a good win. One good win. That just mattered. There's a lot of work in front of you. Jerron Boots Ennis, your time will come. You have the skills. You're a remarkable fighter. Just don't rush, but be quick about it. If you get what I mean. You're not getting any younger. So the best way to get to the top, fight the best that your division has to offer you. So that's my take on what Jerron Boots Ennis needs to do going forward. I don't think anything less is going to grant him that star static that eludes him. He wants to be that household name and that star. But in order to be Michael Jordan, you got to do Michael Jordan shit. So Jerron Boots Ennis, you might got 2 belts and that little ringside around your waist, but there's work to be done. Partying can be much later when you're done with the sport and you could reap the fruits of your labor. I just want you to think about this, Jerron Boots Ennis. If anybody can get this to him, just remind him that from the age of 20 years old to the age of 30 is just 10 years. That's a career in the sport of boxing. Son, there's life after boxing. While you're in it, be in it. Be dominant, be great, and dare to be the best. While you're in it, be 100% in it. Ain't no time for the hangout. Shit. Ain't even no time to make a family. We can do that after. If you're going to be around it, you're going to be around. What we got to talk about. What's the rush? Everything will be exactly where it is today in 5 years, 6 years from now. Guarantee it. So Jerron Boots Ennis, I think going out partying or enjoying your win right now, I mean, enjoy it for a brief moment, 2 weeks, something like that. Back in the gym. Back in the gym. Stay sharp. Sharpen your steel so that the next opponent you face is even going to be fighting a much dangerous, much sharper Jerron Boots Ennis. And that's what we want to see. Everybody has already given you nicknames like the Phenon. You've heard them, right? But I think he needs to put in that work. And I think just because he beat Emmanuel Stanionis, just remember, just before he fought this fight, how'd he do with Karen? David Amnesian. How'd he do with them dudes? Yeah. So don't get so hyped up. You know, I want him to stay the course, stay focused, and show these boxing, these boxing streets and boxing, the boxing world that you're him, rather than being told that you're him and have done nothing. Now you've done something. Okay? I can't say you did something by getting the IBF because technically it wasn't won under championship terms. But now you did something. The WBA title solidifies the IBF, and then both solidify each other now by validating him unified status. He has 100% unified status right now. Especially if he defends them. If he takes both those belts and goes out and beats the WBA #1 contender, right? That's a done deal right there. And then he would have to spin the block to fight either Brian Norman Jr. or Mario Barrio. That's what you're looking at. Because, let's face it, Terrence Crawford is a man on a mission. There is no other fight for Terrence Crawford but Saul Canelo Alvarez. No one's talking him out of that. Nope. He's really going to go up there and try to beat Saul. I got to admit that the last time a man tried to do that in Jermell Charlo, I'm not sure if we got the best representation of if a man was given that opportunity, had to jump up 2 weights, would he be able to pull it off? The one thing about Jermell Charlo and Terrence Crawford is being given a significant amount of time to prepare for the fight. Not like Jermell Charlo, because if we could all remember, he was never in the equation. In fact, the fight was offered to his twin older brother. He stepped in and put his nose in business that didn't pertain to him. And under the time frame he had, he fought Saul. Saul knew he wasn't going to implement that fast. The one thing that Saul in that fight, the difference in this fight, you're dealing with a different monster, Saul. That's not Jermell Charlo. That's Terrence. He's a psycho in a good way. And I mean that with the most respect. That man is dedicated. That's a focus driven Terrence Crawford that you gave him ample time. You went and took a fight. You're about to fight Cinco de Mayo, William Scope. He has a lot of time to really acclimate himself to that weight and be able to move in that weight. He might not be fighting world-class opposition in the ring. Make no mistake, Terrence Crawford, he ain't slowing down in sparring. Those are all fights in his weight. And he's fighting these big dudes. And he's got a lot of time to prepare for that. And every single month, it seems like the boxing world gets an update. Terrence Crawford showing his new weight. Now all of a sudden he's big as fuck and now he got abs. Like before he was just fat. Like a month ago, he like blimped up, put on the weight. Now he's like big as hell and cut. You know, them snack products is a motherfucker, man, right? I gotta order me some snack shit, bro. Listen, Vada can come to my house and test me. Round one sports talk. You ain't getting shit. Back up, dog. Back up, back up. You know what I'm saying? Why you testing me? I ain't got a fight schedule. I'm about to get on that snack. You know what I mean? That shit is doing wonders for these dudes. Oh my God. Ever since Vada got kicked out of the UFC, did you see their fight guys last night? Every one of them had abs. They were all ripped. Yeah, Adam Chandler just seemed to get more jacked as he got older at the age of 38. Ever since they lost their WADA contract that they don't test none of the UFC fighters now. Now all the UFC fighters are fucking jacked as shit all of a sudden. Ripped. Did you see Patty Pimblett? Yo, that motherfucker had it. Yo, he was a fat boy. All of a sudden in the UFC lose they. You don't see a thing going on here? Michael Chandler was sitting on a couch chasing Conor McGregor for I don't know how long. For almost 2 damn years or some shit. It felt like that anyway. Right? And he comes back at the ripe age of 38. Jacked as shit. Patty Pimblett, a fat boy, always blowing up in between fights. The UFC loses their steroid testing company. And this man came in the fight looking like a Greek god. He looked like he was going to have a pose down. And none of the fighters, you notice, that all went the distance, not one of them was huffing and puffing. Not one. Yeah, like the first round. Yeah, man, yeah, you know, just went 5 rounds. He kicked the shit out of me. I kicked the shit out of him. But I'm not breathing heavy. Why? Because of my training. Bullshit. Yo, them dudes is on that Hugo. Yo, they on the special sauce over there now. That shit is running rampant. Listen, that was like, what was that baseball player? Roger Clemens. He took that steroid craze to like the Supreme Court. He was all over TV. Yo, I dare you go back and look at those YouTube clips of Roger Clemens testifying and like the fucking whatever it was. Don't hold me on legal, right? But I think it was like the fucking highest court. And he was jacked like a yo, he had no neck. Senator, I am not using steroids. I just got bigger, stronger the older I got. That's it. And he was like, jacked. Like, you take pictures of Roger Clemens when he was like pitching, like with the like Red Sox and shit. Man, listen. It was ridiculous. Jose Canseco was up there like this. Senator, I am not. I bought the steroids off him. I'm snitching. He used them with me. Straight snitching. Jose, that's right. He was straight snitching on everybody. He dropped dime on everybody. That shit was crazy. I remember watching that shit unfold. But yeah, man, like these snap products is no joke, huh? But whatever it is, man, it's passing. So these guys is getting in the ring, they passing. And if he's passing, that means that all of you are privileged to take snack. So whether or not, how do we know 99% of all boxings ain't on snack right now? Just because they ain't wearing the shirt or running out saying, hey, I'm taking snack, doesn't mean they're not taking it. If this shit is working, man, and it's giving you that little extra energy for you to perform better, I mean, snack's not going to make you throw the right hook. You got to throw that. At the end of the day, you still got to throw these punches. You might have a little bit more energy, and he does too. He on the snack just like I am. I'm downstairs out snacking him right now. Like, did you just eat 2 packages? I'm eating 4. I'm not sure if that does anything. I'm just fucking around, right? But apparently that shit's passing. These guys are getting out of the ring. They take their blood right after the fight. What's it tell you? They pass. I'm not here to fucking debate you on whether or not their drugs are not just being detected now, but that shit is still. I'm not a chemist. I'm sorry, bro. You're on the wrong show if you think I can break down fucking some drugs like a chemist. I'm not. That's not me, bro. I'm just a boxer, bro. The fuck you want from me? You want me to break that shit down for you, nano and grams and shit? Act like I can't. But that's a different past. That man is not here. He is not around anymore, right? He can't break shit down like that. All right? And we ain't got to live like that no more, okay? But nah, really, I'm not a chemist. And I have no idea what the fuck snack is doing, or I can only speculate, and I can't smear snack's name when I have no proof that they're doing anything wrong. I have no proof of that. I could assume whatever the fuck I want, but I got no right to say that they shit is any more, because apparently Terrence Crawford's getting out of the ring. Hey, Terrence, blood urine. Pass. The fuck you want me to say? What do you want me to do? No, turn around. Test them twice? What do you want? What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So, look, what I think is going on with that product, that's my opinion. And that would be just mere speculating. And I don't got the right to say that they're doing anything illegal with their product. Their product is a well-known player in the sport of boxing. They are very familiar with Victor Content and his product. You can go and buy his product right off of the shelf. He's not hiding anything. It's not like he's telling you, I'm going to put out this snack right here on the shelves, You call me direct, I'll give you some different shit, different serum, right? Because if you put out that snack shit on the shelf and it doesn't do what it says it's going to do on the bottle for the rest of 98% of us, I'm pretty sure you can't sell that garbage. People, I don't feel any different, and it doesn't do anything for me. I was better off on my old shit, right? And your market would be only catered to 2% of the people in the world. Maybe even less, 1%. Just boxers? And only the boxers that can afford it? Or rather than saying he made something everybody can take. If you can make something everybody can take and not be detected, now you're winning. Why would I make some bullshit, put that on the market, and think I'm gonna make my money off 1% of people that can afford this mysterious serum? How much are they paying for that shit? All the Terrence Crawford and Shakur of the world. Because there's only like 6 fighters that can probably buy it. Meanwhile, the shit you're putting on, you mean to tell me that shit's garbage? No. That man made himself something that it works like that across the board. The same shit Terrence is taking, you could buy that off the shelf. You winning now. You winning. Nobody got to call Victor Content for shit. You want my shit? It's go over there and buy it off the goddamn shelf. It's right there. I don't deal with nobody direct, nothing. Because I stand behind my product. It's right there. Go buy it. $29.95. You can have a whole snack bag. It got multiple shit in it. Tell you how to take it. You'll be back next month. Don't worry about it. I back my shit. Now that's a product. It is what it is. What happened if Shakur what? If Skull spoils the party, what, by beating Canelo Alvarez? I mean, what that would be a big fucking upset. Now, wouldn't that be a huge upset? What is William Schofield going into that fight on the underdog, as an underdog, the Vegas odds? What is he, a 20-1? He's got to be a 20-1 underdog to pull some shit like that off and beat Saul. That would be fucking. Imagine that he knocks out Iron Chin Saul Canelo Alvarez. I just want the truth. Listen, if Jesus Christ, I don't think there's a universe that plays out, but this is boxing and crazy as shit happened, right? Buster Douglas did knock out Mike Tyson. Shit, though. We're talking about Iron Chin Saul Canelo Alvarez, the same man that took Triple G's punches and walked through them. The same man that Demetrius Bivol couldn't knock out. Right? We're talking about that guy. Same guy Floyd didn't beat, knock out, Shane Mosley. None of them. Saul's been in there with the Miguel Cotto. Listen, Caleb Plant. Like, Caleb could crack in his own right, man. He's a big dude. And you think William Schofield, he's not a power puncher like that. If Triple G couldn't knock out or even put down Saul Canelo, at least for a standing 8, wobble the man. For as vicious as Triple G's punching power is, oh my God. Triple G hit Canelo flush. Yo, he hit him like this. Oh, like, yo, that, I guarantee you, Triple G went, oh shit. He's never experienced that. There's no way you can convince me Triple G hits anybody else in the world. That man ain't going out. Man, get that man a blanket, a pillow, beat him a bedtime. Because he's going to sleep. He's going to sleep. And Saul just pop. I was like, because that was one of my things I was saying during that time. I remember myself, right? I'm saying, watch when Triple G catches up to Saul Canelo Alvarez's jaw. Let's see what happens. As soon as I saw it, boop, I was like, okay, let's try it again. Boop! Yo, Saul was there to stay, Jack. Yeah, diablo. William Schofield beat Saul Canelo. I mean, unanimous decision, split decision, majority decision. Not out of the possibility, the realm of possibility. You know, Laura, man, I think he beat Saul that day. You know, let me tell you something. I thought Demetrius Bivol pitched a shutout, and one of the judges mysteriously had Saul winning in the fight. Beating Saul Canelo Alvarez is not easy as it seems. No. So that in itself, I'm just like, that would be fucking bananas. Skull blows off that fucking. Oh my God. That would be a monumental upset. How big would that be an upset? Think about like upsets of the world. How big would that, like, I mean, Devin Haney getting his ass whooped to Ryan was an upset. They overturned it. Don't start texting fucking steroid things. Don't, okay? I don't mean to bring up old wounds. But Ryan Garcia was an underdog going into that fight. Let's just remember that. Espinoza was an underdog coming in against Robersi. Right? Right now I can't think of no like recent this year big. I mean, the year's so young. I mean, we just got into 2025, bro. What are we, like, fucking, you know what I'm saying, April? So there's just a lot more boxing to happen, and a lot more upsets to occur. So the year is fairly young as far as that goes for the year. I can think of other, but just to keep it within the year. Okay. And right now I say to myself, there's a lot of big fights for Saul, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Naoya Inoue. They're gonna kick off a stellar month of May of boxing. And as you can see, all these organizations are really working with each other. Top Rank, PBC, Matchroom, Queensbridge. They're all like really like interacting with each other in one way or another, either working on different separate cards, but you could see that they're working with each other. Jerron Boots Ennis is an Ed Hearn fighter, and Emmanuel Stanionis is a PBC fighter. So and then there was a lot of rumors about Jerron Bruce Ennis leaving Matchroom, but for what? He didn't have to leave. He didn't have to leave Matchroom to fight Emmanuel Stanionis, which is a PBC fighter, because they're saying that he would leave to go to the PBC to try to fight Mario Barrio, which is a PBC fighter. And I'm saying to myself, well, wouldn't that be the same thing? Like he was a Matchroom fighter that fought a PBC champion. And Mario Barrio is a PBC. It's just the same. You don't got to leave to do that. You just did that. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the way that Ed Hearn was talking up there on the podium, I think that Jerron Boots Ennis re-signs with Matchroom and Ed Hearn. I think he's already started something, and he brought Matchroom a belt. He brought Ed Hearn a belt. If you got a belt, he's gonna want to keep you as a world champion because that promotes Ed Hearn, so that when the next young rising superstar and Ed Hearn goes to meet him and his coach says, "Yeah, I'm Ed Hearn. I want to sign you." They ask him, "How many world champions have you ever promoted as a boxing promoter?" "Well, I got Jerron Boots Ennis and Richard Hedgerson, just to name off a few names. Right off the top. That's just them." See what I'm saying? It speaks volumes to the promotional company. They promoted and worked with world champions. So as long as Jerron Boots Ennis now is a unified, he's not even a world champion. He's a unified world champion. It's a different title. Ed Hearn's gonna want to keep him. So yeah. I think that Terrence Crawford should take a tune-up fight. Whether who he fights, particularly, I don't really, all that notion that like Saul's like, uh, fight this guy first. If you could beat him, then fight me type shit. That doesn't really work for me. Okay. Cause I've seen guys not look great against other opponents, but beat the brakes off the champion. He was studying that champion for years. And as he was coming up, his fighting style was catered around that one guy. Everybody else might beat this guy up or he might win the fight, but it might be a battle. And on the night he fights him, he shines. Same thing with like John Jones and UFC shit type shit. He fought that dude's Reyes. He was studying him. It was like a lot of fighters do this. There's a lot of footage on you. And people are watching you, like the young fighters of today, the Abdullah Masons, the Camille Motons. I'm pretty sure the Vargas there kid, El General, he studies everything. And they're watching these champions. So on the day they were to meet, this whole time he's been preparing for you. Sometimes it could be a good and a bad thing. You beat him, and then everybody else, you don't know how to fight everybody else. You only trained to beat that guy. You got your shot and you did it, and now you're like, you don't really got a style. It was just catered to beating his style. So, I think that a lot of this opens up a lot of possibilities, these unification fights. I think that boxing since the year of 2023, when they saw the the market for unifications. It used to be, the WBC didn't want to fight the IBF or the WBO. Why? Because they only cared about their belt. Long as their champion kept fighting everybody else and beating them, what did that say? That their champion was the strongest. Then the IBF comes along and tells the WBC, well, we think our guy can beat your guy. You get a unification, and whichever champion was with what organization, so to speak, you know, won. But at the end of the next morning, he represents both now. So plus it looks good on the fighters. It looks good for all the belts and so forth. The allure of being a dominant champion. What do you see? More belts. It speaks to the kind of champion reign that man or he or she is having. Speaking of she, just like Sebastian Fedora's kid sister there, Gabriella, and she's doing big things. She's gonna be throwing. I think it's April 19th, if I'm not mistaken. I should look it up. I have already my other side computer down tonight. I'm just flowing off the top of the head tonight. It's a Sunday night. I didn't really think I was gonna go on that long. I didn't think I would have a huge audience or anything, but I just wanted to get on tonight and always talk boxing with you guys. Thank you guys, for tuning in and sharing this boxing night with me. So please, um, I'm gonna end this live stream right here. Don't forget to like these videos. It really helps the video and for the algorithm. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And like always, I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have been amazing. I have been your host, Edwin. I hope you had a wonderful time. To the next one. I'll see you then. Peace. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section below.